Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 18, verses 1 through 15. And so Abraham just continues to walk in faith, continues to walk in the promise, the covenant that God has made with him. But, he's old. He's 99 plus. And his body is withered out, and so is Sarah's. And the Lord appears to Abram near the great trees of Mamre, and the great oaks, right? And he looks up and he sees three men standing by. Now, how does the Lord appear to him? Abraham is hanging out. Perhaps it's like a Sabbath day. He's resting quietly. And in that quiet time, the Lord comes to him. Now, there's a number of interpretations about the three visitors. One, we know that it's the Lord. The question is, what form of the Lord? There's a Greek icon that shows that this is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit visiting Abraham, that this is the Old Testament Trinity showing up. Others will say that this is Christ, who is the messenger of the Father with two angels. And when we read later in the chapter, it sort of supports that. Luther and Chad Bird talk about how often whenever there's a messenger, the messenger of the Lord in the Old Testament, that is Christ who conveys the word of the Father. And so the Lord comes to Abraham. It's God's initiative, and Abraham was available to hear him. And, Abraham could have said, no, I don't need any visitors right now. You go on. But, of course, that wasn't part of the culture. And how is it that he's able to perceive that it's the Lord? Perhaps in all his other times with the Lord, he senses this is the Lord's presence. This isn't just three visitors. And, when you have a relationship with someone, right, you know them. You hear the voice. And what I want to get at is, in all of this, that this is a worship experience. Abraham is waiting patiently, quietly. The Lord comes to him. He knows who the Lord is, so he recognizes the Lord. And then he and Sarah offer an offering to the Lord, right? Abraham runs to meet them, bows to them. He humbles himself to them. He addresses him as Lord, and he sees himself as a servant to the Lord. Abraham does. He addresses them with the Lord with reverence and adoration and subservience, with obedience. And he asks to serve the Lord, right? Let me do something for you. And he is giving an offering to him. And he doesn't give what's left over. In fact, they take what's best and give it to this visitor of, the three persons. And the Lord accepts Abraham and Sarah's offering in his service. And, it sort of makes us think about how are we giving God our best of our time, attentiveness, right? And what is our first thought for the time that we give to God? Are we listening? Sarah and Abraham make an investment to serve the Lord, and God had showed up to bless them anyways, because we are created to be a vessel through whom God's blessings are poured. And so they receive this blessing. You are going to have your own son. And Sarah laughs, but so did Abraham in the last chapter. He laughed when he was told, am I an old man? Sarah, am I an old woman whose bodies are good as dead, going to have a child? Don't laugh at what the Lord can do, basically. I saw you laughing. And so the Lord is present and seeks, he says he'll return to bring that blessing. Well, thanks, friends. Have a blessed day.